Welcome to Jungle Scout's Competitive Intelligence. In this video, I'll introduce you to this powerful tool that empowers Amazon sellers to make data-driven decisions. I'll cover how it helps you identify your true competitive space, understand your market position, and then compare your performance against specific competitors. So first up, identify your competitive space. This isn't just about how much market share you own in the entire category, but narrowing it down to your most relevant and closest competitors, as oftentimes the entire category isn't the most helpful for you to benchmark against. So let's look at an example. At Jungle Scout, we sell these washable pee pads for dogs. Now, the pet supplies category on Amazon is huge, with over 60,000 listings just for the dogs subcategory. So would it really be beneficial for us to benchmark our 3-pack large-size dog pads against all of these listings? Not really, but this is where competitive intelligence comes in. With just one seed ASIN, it automatically finds the products most similar to yours, essentially the competitors that you should be keeping an eye on. So here's our segment. You can see the total market size in revenue and units sold, plus the top products and their market share. This brings us to the second key benefit, understanding how your products compare to the overall market or competitive space. Now, you know your own sales, of course, but you don't know the sales of the entire market. Is it growing? Is it declining? Competitive intelligence can answer these questions. So let's take this office chair from the brand Azaki. It has 800 ratings, almost 4.5 stars, and it gets about 800 sales per month, which sounds pretty good, right? Now, in competitive intelligence, we can actually see their 12-month revenue history. There are ups and downs, but overall, the trend is upward here. If we do a simple year-over-year calculation here, we can see they've grown about 25%. Now, most brands would probably be pretty thrilled by that. But how does this compare to the market's growth? Looking at the total market revenue, we see it's grown about 87% year over year. So despite Azaki's impressive growth, they've actually lost market share because the market is growing at a more rapid rate than their product. So that's how you compare your product to the market. But there's a third powerful feature from competitive intelligence, comparing your product's performance against specific competitors in your market. So let's take a look at another example. I've got a segment for board games for adults, and I've pinned the product Catan. Let's pretend that we're the game Catan. We can see here over the past 12 months, our market share is almost 7% and the most in this segment. But let's dig in a little deeper. So we're gonna look at their historical revenue here. We can see that they had a really strong Q4. And then if we look at the trend over the last 12 months, we'll see that they grew just over 9% year over year. But how does that compare to their competitors? So now let's look at another competitor here, the game Uzzle. Very similar, we can see it had a really strong Q4, but if we look at where it started from $43,000 per week to about $83,000, it almost doubled in revenue, about a 95% increase. So now let's take a look at another competitor that's in this top list here. It's a game called Tapple. Now this is really interesting. Like the other two, it also had a really strong Q4, but unlike the other two, it's actually exploded this year. If we just look at where it started versus where it ended, it's about the same, but it looks like during this year, it potentially captured a lot of market share. But we can actually check that. So right now we can see that Catan has got nearly 7% market share over the past 12 months. But if we actually look at shorter, more recent periods, we can see that their market share is starting to go down. But now let's do the same thing for one of those other products, the Tapple game. So I'm going to pin that one, remove Catan, so that now we're just acting as if we're Tapple. And so we'll come back to the overview here, and we can see that in the past 12 months, they definitely had less than Catan at 5.25%. But if we start looking at more recent periods, we'll see that they've actually been gaining market share very quickly. So despite the fact that Catan still owns the largest market share, we can see that it's quickly beginning to lose market share to other competitors, which is something I would definitely want to know if I were Catan. But competitive intelligence goes even further, providing actionable insights to help you understand why competitors might be growing in market share, or how you can position your product more competitively to increase your revenue and market share. But before you can do any of that, you need to set up your own segment, which is exactly what I show you step by step in this next video. So make sure to watch that video, but also visit our website to sign up for and begin using competitive intelligence today.